Starlings are made of atoms by A.W. Hughes. Staring down the barrel of a completely random universe, Einstein delivered his bit about God's aversion to shooting dice. 2,000 years earlier, Lucretius would name the source of Einstein's terror atom. These microwave versions of infinity, these little star turtles never die. They dance like flocks of starlings, but only when you're not looking. Atoms are responsible for pickled pig's feet in the jars they float in. The most microscopic thing you can think of is still 10 trillion atoms. This is what I've learned so far. When I finally peel myself up off this linoleum, I'll go check out another book at the library. I regained consciousness around sunrise, disoriented and trying to cuddle the oven. A quick check confirmed it was my own kitchen floor. Still had the photograph of my wife that I'd been searching for in my nightstand last night when I discovered the Valium. The shiny camisole and purple undies were from a better time. Not posing, not protesting. A slight smile, a touch of fear, maternal, physical, ephemeral. She believed I was someone she could believe in. I had no intention of making her regret that. How much more could I have gotten away with? How much less work would I have to do if I hadn't inherited the ghastly combination of my father's addictions and the paternal curse of male pattern baldness? I guess the fluorescent light cast a cool green glow over the linoleum. Made it seem as good as better than the bed that's still pretty much made on her side. Even though I'm still on the floor, it's a relief to know it's my own floor. There's comfort down here among the desiccated roach parts, remembering my son standing on a stool like a civilized human being, learning to chop and dice and julienne. My hands on his, guiding the chef's knife through a sweet Vidalia onion. Outside the window, above my sink, gashes of sherbet orange bisect the cold dishwater sky. I might say I can't take this. Rain, then no rain, 15 times a day. The sound and the fact of thunder separated by the speed of light. Inside my skull, black threads of memory threaten to delay the pursuit of happiness. Last night I made promises for the betterment of all humanity. I pledged myself, my whole self, replete with updated turbocharged systems that supported my naked optimism. I took a deep breath and plunged into my head, hunting for the promises folding and unfolding within a school of dark anxiety. I could see the general shape. They were good promises. Did I drive last night? I could check my call log, search history, but days of me coasting the night's carnage out of friends was over. Nobody ever answered, except the suicide hotline where I was on a call, a list of repeat callers pinned to the cork board above the desk. I was warned to proceed with caution. The conversation veered towards loneliness and aliens. If aliens are visiting, the helpline operator asked, how can you be so lonely? They're fucking stealing my words, man. Another language becomes extinct every 2 weeks. I love that pairing. Language as an endangered species. Starved for words, I've kept ahead, searching, forging, first reasonably, then desperately, confused and burning with shame. I felt my guts turn when later, all our languages combined, couldn't even fake our way through. Why do you love me? Why do you love me? Why do you love me? Observation. There was a smear of blood on the floor, and the footprints around it told a story of some wild dance. It was that song. Fucking terrible song. I thought this would sound cool recorded by a children's choir, slowed down in post-production to mimic Gregorian chant. I sent it to every single person in my contacts. I must have been bleeding then. I hope this blood is mine. Jesus Christ. Couldn't help but wonder what other messes I'd left behind. I pictured pristine floors in Japan, plumbers wearing paper booties and gloves to rectify shit-ring toilets. My head throbbed at the back, and I knew I needed to rinse off and change my pants. The library flashed across my mind again, but I couldn't make sense of it. I knelt and rose, brushed off the urge to assume the worst. Last night could have been extraordinary. Perhaps I hired a small dog in a charming sweater to deliver the Times. In the bathroom, I unleashed an aggressive pee storm that stirred up unflushed toilet business. I flushed that business. I glanced behind the shower curtain to find my phone bobbing in tepid bathwater next to an empty bottle of gin. I needed a red velvet cake in the library too. I needed to learn more physics. Physics! A photon blast from last night. My son, the scholar, he's a marvel in the honors college, conducting experiments in the laboratory that would leave lesser minds reeling. And yet, despite his brilliance, he can't spare a moment to explain his work to me, his own father. Nevertheless, I hide my petty jealousy behind a facade of pride. I understand what he does. After dozens of carefully curated text messages extolling his achievements, and dozens of the same, except more impulsive, unhinged, and deeply inappropriate, he responded. Should be here later on. I knew just about how long this good, glorious post-blackout stretch of grace would last. Right now I'm a golf ball, above it all, so peaceful, such a great view from the tee. Some demented fuck loves me, just like that, it's gone, turned to sickness. I plucked my bottle and my phone from the tub and pulled the stopper. Despite the wealth of instructive evidence, the bottle, the blood, the ruined phone, I was going to push this thing, whatever it was, extend the warranty. Emerging from the tunnel of blackout, only to duck into what will surely be another, was where the real discoveries were made. I put water on for coffee. Took a minute to assure myself that anything I needed to do today could be done drunk. I'm not responsible for anyone's children. I'm not operating heavy machinery. Seriously think, did I drive last night? When the water boiled, I poured it over 4 scoops of Cafe Bustelo. I chose a medium-sized potato from the bag in the pantry. Advil, eggs, and home fries. Let's call it the last breakfast because I felt close to Jesus, like I was gonna die. I poured 3 fat fingers of good bourbon in a mug and topped it with a splash of the black coffee. I took a cast iron skillet off the hook and set it on a flame. The Advil should land about the same time as my morning cocktail. I'm hungry, so I'm going to throw it over to Sergio, Colorado on the mobile test kitchen. Sergio is parked right outside of Liberty Freedom Payday Loans on 2141 Eastern Road. Liberty Freedom Payday Loans. One way in, one way out. Sergio? Rinse, chop, rinse, heat, yes, yes, I'm here, in flagranti. Let's get our cooks set up. Let's get our cooks at home caught up. Meditative journey of achieving perfect home. Fries. Olive oil on medium until it just begins to spit with some smoke. Add potatoes, coat in oil, and Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. Spread the potatoes evenly in the pan. Let sit, let brown. Seriously, go away. Let the potatoes brown. Let them brown. Brown! French scientist Louis Camille Maillard Brown. Yeah, we are. Okay, check one. Turned over. It's not brown yet. It's a stupid fuck. Stop it. The act of chopping potatoes is a way of finding comfort and control in a situation that is unpredictable and dangerous. After a month of solitary confinement, I prayed for insanity, but God is merciless. Life is a struggle in the sunshine, folks, am I right? I tried walking in circles, but found that pacing, counting off my steps by fives, brought music back into my life. The rhythm of my days as a prep cook, chopping in complex sycopated patterns. 596 days alone, but for the disembodied voices of guards, parking, Portuguese. Now look at me, now look at your pan. Turn the potatoes before they burn. Jesus Christ, brown, right? Aren't they beautiful? Beauty's often enough, but they're still raw. Toss and turn, flick your wrist in an upward motion while pulling your arm back. This gently propels the potatoes into the air. Think about physics in a non-specific way. Think it was possible to shuffle a deck so many times that you end up where you started. Think if you had 596 days and nights to figure it out, recover and reduce the heat to low. Low heat is freedom. You're no longer entangled in this cast iron relationship. Untethered, you can plunge your French press, go have a smoke outside where all the overwhelming space threatens to split your heart from your chest. Your breakfast will be fine. Let the heat rise up through the raw potato, sizzle and steam together till perfectly browned on one side. A raw potato is alive. You can bury that potato in the ground and grow a plant, but the only delicious potato is the dead potato. You'll know they're done when you're visited by thoughts of Peru. Removed from the heat, served with an over-easy egg and a side of mayo. Enjoy. This has been Sergio Colorado reminding you to lean on Liberty Freedom Payday Loans. One way in, one way out. I took off my clothes after breakfast and lit a candle, my skin recoiling in anticipation of the shock I was about to receive. I blasted a cold shower and screamed phonetic shapes that may have sounded operatic as I stepped in. I sat down and let it rain. Opened my Guac waterproof notebook and wrote about the smell of home fries. The narrator in this dripping tale had a tendency towards the excess and seemed sexy, life-affirming. I wrote about a picnic table, someone like my wife, a companion, in the tall grass, using a bloody fillet knife to punctuate an argument. A Fort Lauderdale t-shirt with an airbrushed ocean sunset, skin sparkling with fish scales from gutting a red snapper as big as her head. I wrote that never understand your fishing, but I love the ocean smell she brought back with her. My bloody mermaid, put the sharp knife down, I've drawn you a bath. The past is an infection driving my temperature up, sending signals to my brain that dictate movement and thought. An odd team of nefarious characters, sipping burnt coffee, poking at my subtext with a rusty rebar. They manipulate bellows and stacks by pulley and chain, tossing up fuel to the present. Seagulls can shit on that narrative. I have errands to run. Errands, like a useful person. I turned off the cold water. In dripping silence I wrote. I am the collective resistance against alienation and estrangement. I'll start by walking to the grocery store. I'll swing by the library on the way home. I'll say hello to the neighbors I usually ignore. Baby talk the dogs who snap at me and shit on the sidewalk. I'll wave to cops even. I'll cut through alleys and parking lots, unbearably light. A little money in my pocket, and I was 90% sure that it wasn't Sunday, so no work tomorrow. Clean pants, cleanest shirt. Had a whole day ahead of me, unruined. Physics to learn, cakes to bake. It was gonna be a productive day, full of positive interactions. I did my push-ups and downed my drink for the road. I felt in my pocket for the last 2 Valium. Let's just take one now and save the other for later. My hips hurt from waking up on the floor. As I wandered the baking aisle at H-E-B, I spotted a nomadic ally above the sea of gray ladies and ashen men pushing carts. She stood out, her fingers pressed against her bottom lip, contemplating the vast selection of cake mix. No basket, no cart, just a fellow dreamer in a purple tracksuit, stretched taut and shiny across the folds of her midsection. She was above average in the shortness of the department. I imagined an elevator ride up to a rooftop party, sharing a cigarette, actors dressed as different brands of box cake, carrying trays of blue drinks in tall glasses. She had moved on from the cake mix, getting closer now, inspecting the pudding, now scratching her head. What future events stirred her mind as she compared a can of cherry pie filling in one hand, a can of blueberry in the other? Time stood still in Alley 6, and the whole world seemed to lose focus, except for her. She was a beacon. I wasn't sure it was a dream until the voice of James Earl Jones boomed over the PA system, reciting psalms. The earth shall tremble at the look of him. If he do but touch the hills, they will smoke. Hey you, she explained. I have a thought bubble of chalky white bird shit on the shoulder of her tracksuit. I'm sick of pie, she continued. I want a goddamn yellow cake. You look like you got two lightning bolts in your sneakers. Can you reach me that strawberry frosting up there on top? I certainly could, but I had to use my tippy toes. Stretched it out real good though, flexed my calves just in case. She was interested in that sort of thing. She noticed a piece of paper in the back pocket of my clean pants. What's on your grocery list, she asked. I touched my back pocket. Red velvet cake, book titles. I handed her the frosting. Is that it, she asked? On the list? I don't know. I guess I got carried away. I can't say I'm shy. Well then we can whisper, she said. The harsh fluorescent grossing lights went down, replaced with warm red gels and a slow-moving strobe. Ed and James took over the PA and dedicated at last to the two strangers in aisle 6 who might be onto something beautiful. I offered my hand and we danced. I felt all the way down to my ankles when her thin, dry fingers brushed my neck. As we swayed in the semi-darkness, she looked up at me. So what about the rest of the list? Her breath smelled like cheeseburger. It says what to do about your clothes in case of emergency, and the blindfold in your fingers folded in prayer. Where's the blindfold, she asked. I reached up behind her ear and revealed it with a flourish. Ta-da. That thing's too fucking long. I don't know. Act 1.